Jaime from Inky&Scrappy, sharing with you today the one that uses that step card die that I thought I'd use. Yeah. I think I've started and stopped with this one probably 2 or 3 times. It's just really, okay, the packaging really isn't my style, and I thought I would use it, and I just haven't. And so I had decided I need to use my crafty stash as per Jordy from Jordy Cards. It keeps telling us this year. And so I thought I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to make it work for me. Make it my style. That's just not my style normally. It's beautiful. It's just not me. And so I love doing scene cards. And I thought, I can make this one a scene card and I'll just do it to, figure it out. And so I'll probably bring this one back again because I figured out a few things on this one, and I'll kind of explain my process as I go here and explain why I'll probably switch it up for my next one. So for this one, I had kind of picked out a paper pack that's an older one from close to my heart. I have like 100 of them from close to my heart. I haven't been with them for like 10 years, so most of them are probably 10 years or older. And so I was like, well, I need to use up some of that. So I usually use those for color inspiration, for backgrounds, those types of things. But this paper pack tended to be super thin. And so I knew I wasn't going to be able to use it as the card base. And that's why the blue one came in and the white one came in. And then I decided I liked the solid better and wanted to do clouds, so of course I did the solid one. So if I would remake this one, I would probably ink blend the entire background panel instead of doing what I'm doing here. Don't get me wrong, it still is cute and it still turned out. It just has that white, or I would have die cut it with this color cardstock and then layered this color cardstock on top to make it thicker, I think. But I really think I would have just preferred to do a heavier weight cardstock and then done a 1-layer ink blend with my sky and my grass and all of that. So I didn't have to worry about the little gaps that are in between here. I ended up cutting off or trimming a little bit to get those folds to lay flat. And you'll see as I go here that I continue to try to cheat. And it just doesn't work. This is a card process video through and through. I just started with my die set. I really didn't have a plan. And I did pull out my gnome set from MFT. And I'm using the images that I had already pre-colored like a couple of years ago and hadn't actually used yet. It's one of my goals for the year is to work on using up some of those colored images. I tend to color a lot when I'm not feeling crafty per se, like not in a mood to make a card or figure out layouts. I tend to color a lot, so I have a lot of colored images. Kate from Kate's Craft would tell you I have like a couple thousand images colored, and I'm like, no, it's not that bad, but it might be because I don't have them all cut out. I have a lot of them on 4.5 or 4.25 by 5.5 inch sheets. They're like, yeah, it's a pretty tall stack already. I should really put the colors that I use on the back of them. So if I ever need to add more colors, like for this one, it'd be easier to color match for me. But anyways, back to the card. I struggled with the layout on this one. I'm not going to lie. Partly because I wanted to hide the Papa Gnome in this one. I knew whose card this was. I was making this one for my bonus mom, Joy. And so, I knew what I kind of wanted. And so that's where the gnome, so the girl gnome is her and the boy gnome is supposed to be my dad. And so giving her the flowers for her birthday. But I couldn't hide him in the card, which frustrated me. And so I was at a loss for a little bit. And yeah, so it's fine. It worked out. It was just not what I wanted, which was fine. If I was doing like a swish and pop or something like that, I probably could have had them pop up with the flowers. And that was kind of what I wanted, was just to hide them and get them in there. And you see my little trails. So I did bring out that stamp set. I did bring in some of the coordinating images with that one to help me with filling in the scene. I did press too hard on my one that's on the little flap there. It ends up getting hidden, maybe by purpose, maybe it was more by accident because I was like, it is what it is. I'll live with it. I'm trying to get better at being imperfect, happy with my imperfections, because I have a hard time letting go of those types of things. But I was like, you know what? It is what it is. It's not like the big blob on the front of the card, so we're fine. So I did do my sentiment in yellow to kind of go with the little gnome color scheme there. I did do it in the bigger banner from MFT. There we go. I'll get it sooner or later. I did cut it down, so I kind of measured everything before I actually stamped it. So it was all rip-roaring and ready to go. And then I will glue that one on here, and then I'm going to lay those little, we're going to call them ladybugs, because if they're Asian beetles, I have issues, and Asian beetles are orange, and none of them are orange. So I have those yellow little ladybugs, and ladybugs mean luck, right? I think that's what a ladybug means. Oh, you can correct me if I'm wrong. It's, one of those days. So I'm going to strategically place my little ladybugs throughout, kind of hiding some of them, so when you open it, you do get a couple of surprises in there. I did bring in some more mushrooms to add to my scene and to fill it in. And then I'm kind of variegating the colors. I want to break up the colors a little bit. And so the little worm, he reminds me of the Richard Scarry book worm, and so he had to make a little appearance, and I thought it'd be cute popping out, from that little tab. It's kind of one of those reminders of my time spent in Maryland with them, because my bonus mom's nanny, so my nanny loved all the books when we would go there when I was little. So it's kind of a throwback to that for me. So the card base here is at, I want to say I ended up doing a 10 by 4 1/4, and I did score it at 5 inches. I'm going to have I actually have a couple of cards coming up that aren't normal card sizes. It's fine. It's kind of fun to do a non-traditional size card because, I like to go out of the box sometimes. But it still fits in an A2 size envelope, so it worked well. And for this one, so that paper is super, it's like maybe heavy text copy paper. So I can't glue it on. I have to use glue or dry tape runner adhesive, otherwise it buckles. So that's why you will see the glue runner or the tape runner instead of the glue for part of this one. And then when gluing this one on, I just made sure to glue on that back panel piece so it is not touching any of the front panel, so it pops up and kind of folds out. It's kind of a different fold, and I think the original intent of this one is that it's the full card, like the whole panel, and I think that was maybe where I was struggling, because I like to have a card that flips up and you can put stuff on the inside. And when I said I'm trying to embrace my imperfections, I'm going to show you how I cover up all of those imperfections. I have a lot of imperfections all the time when I create. It's just, I get ink on my fingers, I smudge things, I set things down on top of things I shouldn't set things down on. Yeah, see? So a part of me was like, I'm just going to stamp it and call it good. It'll be fine. And, then I was like, no, I'm going to have to, cover it up. So I brought in that pattern paper that I used on the front, and I'm going to add that coordinating paper to the inside. Now, I was planning on using the yellow because that was the side that I had used on the front, and you can actually read my sentiment better. Well, trying to stamp on camera and not get the back of my head in the camera shot doesn't work very great. And so you got to see the back of my head so I could actually line it up straight. So I just flipped it over and called it good, and you can't read it. I mean, you can still read it fine. It's VersaFine Onyx Black, so it does stand out very well on even the darker red, and you can read it better in real life than on camera. But it is there. My world is a better place with you in it. So there is my completed card using that Lori Whitlock die set from Sizzix. I'm going to use it again because I think I figured out some of my bugs this time, and it's going to get better. I promise myself it's going to get better next time. Anyways, have an amazing day. Keep getting inky. Bye.